But I did post on Facebook to see if anyone had questions.
What's up, guys? This is Justin with the Twin Jitsu podcast. I've got Chris here, and then we've got our special guest, Professor Felipe. I don't know how to say your last name.
Felipe.
No, but
Your
your
last name.
Cavalcante.
Cavalcante.
He's
Yeah,
Italian.
that's how I knew it. Yeah, so let's get to it. How you've been training jiu-jitsu a long time, right?
Yes, since 1995.
We were 5 years old when you started training jiu-jitsu.
I was already fighting competitions at this time.
Really?
I did my first competition. I had 2 months training.
How old were you?
I was 16 when I fought my first competition.
Was jiu-jitsu the first martial art? Or did you ever do like karate or anything like that?
I used to fight with my brother all the time. When we are like at home and we had nothing to do, it was not like I was angry to him or like he was angry at me. We just like, hey, let's fight.
Yeah,
And I did my most boxing, like not like. So yeah, it's like that's the only experience that I had before jiu-jitsu was fighting with my brother.
we did that too. I mean, before we ever trained, we would pull all the furniture out of our room and just wrestle around. We'd watch UFC, but we had never trained jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, our friend. I remember when we had a couple of our friends over one time. We just like took everything out of one room and just fought each other. We had no technique.
Yeah.
I don't recommend doing that, people.
Oh yeah.
What part of Brazil are you from?
I'm from Fortaleza, Brazil. Fortaleza means fortress in English. There was a big fortress over there, like in the colonization of Brazil. The people from Holland, Portugal, and Spain, they want you to take the place, and they fight between each other. Portugal was the first to be there, so they built a fortress so nobody could come and take the land.
So is it on the coast?
Yes, Costeiro.
It's northern Brazil, right?
Northeast.
Northeast.
On the okay. I don't know my geography, so
You probably don't even know where Brazil is.
I do. It's down there,
I don't know much about the geography of the United States either.
Yeah.
but it's on the coast, so there's beaches and whatnot.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
Did you surf or anything?
Yes, I did, but I almost died surfing, and I never did it again. And that's the funniest thing that I spent 4 years in Australia and I never tried surf again. And I spent some time in Indonesia and never tried surf again because I almost died.
Did you
What happened?
almost
just like-
drown
It
or
was
something?
just like, it was a big like swell, and I think I didn't have enough experience. And like it was one wave coming after the other, and I was really trying to get to breathe again. And like a guy that I didn't even know, that he helped me to get on the sand again.
It was Hicks and Gracie. He pulled you out of the line.
I wish.
Came and saved you.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk. You've kind of been all over with teaching in jiu-jitsu, and I do want to talk a little bit about, since you've been doing jiu-jitsu for so long, like the evolution of jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah.
So we'll probably jump all over the place, but well, I mean, I guess one thing you've seen is like the popularity of the internet and the accessibility of the internet and how that coincides with jiu-jitsu, because I feel like it's probably progressed jiu-jitsu in a lot of ways because you have so much at your fingertips at all the time. You know, you can just pull up a jiu-jitsu match or pull up a technique, whereas when you started, that wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, it's like when I started jiu-jitsu, like 1995, we didn't have those things, and like jiu-jitsu was really different. Like we didn't have much sweeps on the open guard. We didn't have sweeps on the half guard. I remember when I watched some fights from the World Championship in 1997, and it was the first time that I saw people doing sweeps from the half guard. And like say, hey, I'm gonna start doing this. And like jiu-jitsu now from jiu-jitsu in 1995 is a totally different thing. Like every year, if you stop training jiu-jitsu for a year, it's different when you come back.
Don't you think that's kind of like, I'm sure you've heard it, like, where people will be like, oh, old school jiu-jitsu's better, like, blah, 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 the modern. Isn't that dumb? Because, like, for sure, it's not.
Like, I think any kind of evolution or new technique is helpful to the sport. It doesn't, if it's new, it doesn't mean it's good.
Right.
It can be good and it can be bad.
Yeah.
I have seen some videos, really useful videos, and I get to learn that by watching on YouTube, on Instagram. But I have seen some bad things too, like some things that I say, hey man, like if Helio Gracie was alive, he would be like really upset about some things.
I saw a video and I showed him like an open mat. It was a back escape where you shrimp out and then you get a twister hook and then you jump over to take their back. And I was like, have you seen this? He said, that won't work, bro. Yeah. I was like, yeah, you're probably right.
I see a lot of videos that it would work if your opponent stay frozen and don't do anything.
They don't react.
Then it's gonna work. And like sometimes the move is really intelligent, but as I said before, it only works if your opponent is frozen. Yeah. Like I don't really get into too much on old jiu-jitsu, old school jiu-jitsu, new school jiu-jitsu, modern jiu-jitsu. I try to look at things the way they are. Like if it's useful for my game, I will bring it. I have been using leg drags like a lot. That's the part of the modern jiu-jitsu that I really enjoy, like leg drags. And there are other things that I don't do, but I think it's really useful, like the worm guard, the lapel guard that we were talking about on like Sunday. Yeah. I don't. That's not my favorite thing, but I think it's really useful. That guy, Keenan Cornelius, he's a genius. That's really useful. Like I had a friend that he's really good on worm guard, and man, every time I gave him a chance to set up the worm guard, he was on my back.
Yeah, it's over.
Well, last night when we rolled, because I've been trying to play with the lapels a little bit, you just would not let me have a lapel. So I went
to Leo Vieira's seminar in Dubai, and he told me Jiu-Jitsu still have. Actually, he told everyone Jiu-Jitsu still have to evolve on the escapes of the worm guard. But if you don't know what to do, and someone's trying to get your lapel, bring your both knees to the floor. It's not like the best defense, like that. Not like, but it's something that you have to do before the setup. Yeah. That's something that you can do. But that's what I like Jiu-Jitsu. A lot of things is still gonna evolve. Like I remember when the 50-50 came up, people didn't know how to escape it, and some people say that it should be off competition, should ban 50-50 from Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm glad that no one did. No one ban, don't take off like from competitions, because but after some time people develop the defense. And what would happen if people just say, hey, no 50-50? People would never create the escapes. Right. So there are some things that I don't do berimbolos, but I know how to teach, and I think it's really effective. Yeah. So everything, like I think people from old school, they look at things from modern jiu-jitsu, the new jiu-jitsu, and they say, before they even see the technique, they say it's not good. They say, hey, open your mind. Like just look at the technique and see if it's good for your game or not. Don't say it's bad. You didn't even watch it.
I heard a story, and obviously I don't know if it's true, but I would believe it to be true. Like a guy, I think he was like a brown belt. I think he would stop by when he was in town and train at Artista, where I trained. But he was in California and was training at Kron Gracie's place, and he was doing like berimbolos and things like that. And after the class, Kron walked by him and just said, "Your technique is shit," and walked away.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. He fought Marcelo Garcia twice. Yeah, and he lost twice. And then after the fight, he said that the X-Guard from Marcelo Garcia didn't work.
Yeah.
I said, bro, you just got to sweep. Like, I love Con Gracie. Like,
Yeah.
he's amazing. But I don't agree with many things he say. Like,
you have to wear a visitor's belt when you go there.
Yeah,
yes,
I heard
I
that's
don't agree
We
with that.
talked
too.
about that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just insane to me.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like,
even if you don't think someone's, if they're, I mean,
I love the Gracie mentality. But I don't agree with everything they say.
Yeah.
I remember that Fabio Gugel said he was training with Rickson, and at that time the X-Squad was something really new. And then Fabio Gugel said, "Hey, that's a new guard. Let me show you." And then he showed the technique to Rickson Gracie, the X-Squad, and Rickson just said, "Yeah, okay, but how you gonna put me there? How you gonna get on that technique?" And that's something that the mindset of the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is really useful for me. I'm not gonna let you get the triangle and then I'm going to escape. I'm going to escape before you close the triangle. I'm not gonna let you set up the baseball choke. And then after that, I'm gonna escape before you make the grip.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do. Like, don't let things go on the last resource. Like you should avoid the problem before it gets bigger. That's really like Rickson Gracie mindset. I really like it.
Yeah, I try and do that with your guillotines, but it still doesn't work. You
No,
still get them every time.
Yeah, that's my best technique.
And that giant fucking neck of yours probably makes it.
Yeah, it's easier to get a hold of.
Yeah. So let's talk about where you've been, like, as far as where's jiu-jitsu taken you to teach and all that. Where have you taught? In what different countries?
I taught Jiu-Jitsu in New Zealand, Australia, Holland, UAE, and United States.
Where were you at in the UAE?
I was living in a city near to Dubai. The city is called Al Ain. It's like 50 minutes drive from Dubai.
Where were you teaching? At a school or?
My first 5 months I was teaching in a school, in a public school. Kids from grades 6 and 7.
Oh, like a educational school.
Yes.
But it was like their physical
Yeah,
part of the day or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they had like
That's cool.
physical education twice a week. One day was jiu-jitsu and another day was soccer.
Were you teaching 5 days a week or just a couple days a week?
We had to go to the school like 5 days,
Yeah.
but not every day we had class, but we had to stay at the school.
Yeah.
Where'd you go first from Brazil to teach? New
From
Zealand?
New Zealand was my first stop.
How old? Like, were you a black belt already?
No, I was brown belt.
Oh, okay.
I was brown belt. But like, I was a brown belt that I used to smash most of the black belts at my gym. But the instructor, I think he didn't like that much because I came from another school. So he never. I heard that he said that he would never give me a black belt. So that's why I spent so much time in the brown belt. I spent 6 years
That's great.
as a brown belt, and it was good. Like, I was going to different places and make some, not all, but some of the black belts tapping, and they say, "Hey, this guy's really good." I say, "Yeah, I have 6 years as a brown belt." Bro."
you should be good.
Yeah. So
That's what I want. 6 years as a brown belt. That sounds good to me.
Do you just kind of going off on a tangent, but with you talking about your instructor maybe not liking you because you came from a different school,
Yes.
do you feel like the politics of jiu-jitsu is still kind of old school in a lot of ways, or do you feel like, especially I guess in America and it's spreading all around the world, that's changing?
I think there are positive things about jiu-jitsu coming to the United States, and I think there are negative things. But for sure, the mentality, the mindset is evolving. Yeah.
What do you think about, like, the whole like lower belt not asking an upper belt to roll? You think that's how it should be?
I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
I remember that as a blue belt, I call it a purple belt called Hermes Franca, who became one of my best friends in Jiu-Jitsu. He fought on UFC for UFC title, and I called him for a roll. And I ended up my roll with blood on my mouth.
Yeah.
And like I had marks over my face, and he did the right thing. Yeah, he taught me a lesson real good.
Is the training a lot different there, like than here? Like
Harder? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. Like I remember
Tougher.
that as a purple belt, I used to come to the gym at midday, and then to do techniques, and it was like 5 rows of 10 minutes, and was really like I was trying to kill. Like my background, like at the place I was training, if you had like 50 guys in a training session, 45 were like people who go to competitions and want to be a fighter and want to make a living with jiu-jitsu, and like was really competitive with each other. Like it's like every single training session was a competition. I remember that to go to the state championship, every gym only could bring 2 guys. 2 guys. You only, even if you have like 10, you only can put 2. So we had to fight each other to see who were the 2 guys who would represent the gym. And like we had like 5 guys, 6 guys in every division. So like I had people at the gym that they didn't speak to me because they had this kind of rivalry and they want to be in the state championship.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think it was positive because, man, you don't want to lose. Every train you want to do well.
Do you think that's because, I mean, people in Brazil are trying to make it their life, live off of jiu-jitsu, whereas here it's mostly like hobbyists, you know? I mean, do you think that changes the level of training?
I think it depends not out of the country you come from, but the place where you train.
Yeah.
There are some places that I remember at that time that people just training for hobby, but at the place I was training, like you average people couldn't come to that place. They would give up on the first training session. The whole thing is jiu-jitsu for everyone. It didn't apply where I come from. Like it was more like a natural selection. If you're not strong enough, you won't survive here. And like my professor had so many students, so he didn't care about you going there and not signing up. He basically only wanted fighters, and it was really good. Like we got 5 guys on UFC. My professor beat Takanori Gomi at Pride FC.
That's cool.
And for a long time he held the record of the fastest submission on UFC history. And we got Wilson Gouveia on UFC. We got Hermes Franca, who fought for the title. We got my professor on UFC too.
What's your professor's name?
Marcos Aurelio.
Okay.
He was amazing. Royal Gracie was like 15 years without losing, and my professor got his black belt 3 days before the competition, and he beat Royal Gracie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was for us was something big.
You mean Eddie Bravo? Your professor's Eddie Bravo? I'm just kidding.
No, Professor Marcos Aurelio. He came before Eddie Bravo.
Yeah.
He was really, really good, really talented, and I'm really thankful. I started with him as a white, and I went to brown belt, and then he left my town to come to American Top Team and become a professional MMA fighter. So I'm really glad that I got to learn jiu-jitsu with him and hold the mindset. I used to train twice a day, and after the last training session, we used to go to the beach, like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
to do sprints at the beach. I'm so thankful for having him as an instructor. He's like, he doesn't care about if you're tired. Everyone who's in training session have to go hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's He's a really good instructor.
Is he still teaching?
He has his own association in Miami. He lives in Miami now.
Have you gone and seen him at all since being in the States, or?
I tried when I was in Miami. I had like a 10 hours connection, but it wasn't enough, like, because of the schedule of his gym. So, but I have plans to go there.
Let's talk about when you start talking about like having a bunch of people in the same divisions and like fighting to figure out who goes to go compete. And you brought up his name earlier, Keenan. Have you followed any of that stuff with him leaving Atos, being asked to leave Atos?
Yeah, I was reading about it.
What do you think about that?
I think
obviously we don't know all the details. And
he's
everything.
been posting a lot on Instagram. And
Yeah,
it seems like Andre Galvo was trying to
get a cut
or
like
control him, tell him what he can and can't do.
I think we should know the both sides. Like,
yeah,
I met Keenan in Abu Dhabi. He doesn't seem like an easy person to deal with, and like honestly, I think he has a thing against Brazilians. So you can just realize by the way he say things. He say I want to open a gym for Americans without team. He could say for everyone, but he said just Americans. And I could see that in Abu Dhabi that he didn't really like Brazilians that much. So I don't know. It's like something common here that I see that some American instructors, they feel really insecure about having Brazilians in the area.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yep.
That's true. I think
very
from a competitive aspect, though, there has been seemingly sometimes some Brazilian favoritism in like competition with refs and stuff like that. I mean so maybe that's where some of that comes from with.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, but I think there are a lot of more than that.
Yeah, maybe there is. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, so when was the last time you competed?
Was in New York last year, but I didn't do very well.
Yeah.
I felt my knee in the first minute of the fight, and I was just trying to keep going, but I couldn't do much. I lost by points.
And you're competing this month, right?
This month. This month I compete in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I think 2 or 3 weeks time.
Have you been to Chicago before?
No, first time.
I just went. It's pretty cool. Are you going to get to spend time there, like after competing?
Yeah.
A little bit.
It's true. Maybe the Saturday night.
Get some deep dish pizza.
Oh, yeah.
He loves pizza.
Oh, I do. Yeah, like, I think it's good when you can get to compete and get to know a new place. And, like, the nightlife is something that I like about knowing a new place. See people moving, and what they eat, what they do, and how they have fun. It's something that I find really interesting when I'm traveling.
Have you had a favorite place you've lived?
Australia.
Really? What was cool about it? What did you like about it?
I think because Australia reminds me a lot of Brazil, but but with a good economy, so was like life over there was really easy. When it's easy to get a job, it's easy to make money, but it's really hard to get a visa. So I ended up leaving the country because of visa issues.
How long did you teach there for?
Excuse me?
Did you teach? You were teaching jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I did.
How long were you there?
In Australia, 4 years.
Oh, wow.
4 years?
4 years in Australia. 3 years in Perth and 1 year in Brisbane.
So since you've been teaching a long time, how do you balance like your jiu-jitsu and teaching your students? And not only, like a lot of times, not only are you having to focus on teaching your students, you're also having to focus on like getting new students into the gym. How do you feel like you've balanced, like what's your take on that?
I don't deal very well with
signing people up.
No, like signing people up is good. Well, I don't deal very well with the pressure.
Okay.
of getting new students. It's like, it's my job is teaching classes. It's not my job to bring students to the gym. It's like if you have like a school and you teach English, it's up to the English teacher bring students to the class?
Right.
No, he just teach classes. I think that's something that has to, something bad about, as I say, there are lots of good things about the Americanization of Jiu-Jitsu. But there are things that I find bad. Like in Brazil, nobody asks you to bring students to the gym. You're just there for teaching. Yeah. In the United States, the gym owners have the kind of the mindset that the professor has to be posting on social media. The professor has to bring students to the gym. I say, hey, it's not my fucking job. Like I'm here just for teaching.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I guess it would be the difference if you own the school.
Yeah, if you were an owner, I think that'd be different.
But if you're just being brought in as a teacher, then
yeah, that's why I try to spend some time not teaching, just like training. I definitely I don't deal very well with the pressure. Every time a gym owner come to me and said, "Hey, we don't have a lot of students. Maybe I cannot pay your salary. And what do you want to do?" I say, "Stop." Finish everything, but don't come crying to me.
Yeah.
Like, it looks really bad for a man on your age to be crying about it, something. Just stop. Like, I have no patience anymore to see a guy coming that my salary is expensive. It is expensive. I spend money to get good in Jiu-Jitsu. I spend money to get good in Jiu-Jitsu. I paid for private lessons. I paid for Jiu-Jitsu uniforms, and it's all expensive. I paid for trips, Jiu-Jitsu trips. I paid for competition registrations, which is not cheap. It's expensive. That's why every time I'm going to a place and people ask me to show a technique, I always do one time, and the second time I say 2 beautiful words: no thanks. I'm not gonna no free rides here. I'm not gonna expend money to get good and to get better in Jiu-Jitsu. I spend my time, I sacrifice my body, and then now you come to ask me to teach Jiu-Jitsu for free. I can show my Jiu-Jitsu one time and show one technique, and then like if people like it, they still want to learn Jiu-Jitsu with me, they have to pay. No free rides over here. I don't mind being used as soon as I'm getting something back. If you cannot use it, it means you're useless.
Yeah.
And I'm not useless. Like, I'm very useful in Jiu-Jitsu. And like, I don't feel like teaching for free. I have all the knowledge from all this like 23, 24 years of the sport. And I feel like I can die with all this knowledge, but I'm not gonna give it for free.
Yeah.
No
I
way.
think you should have.
I think the problem is with the internet nowadays, like so much information is free that people just expect.
Yeah, I put
knowledge.
some stuff on the internet too, that I think it's something that is gonna help me, but that's something that important. I'm not like looking for a place to teach right now, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna be teaching for free. Yeah, just like.
No, I mean that makes
People
I agree.
People forget you put just as much like
Yeah.
time as like a doctor puts in to become a doctor.
Oh
you know?
yeah.
I mean,
you don't see doctors working for free.
Yeah.
You don't see lawyers working for free. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
I have bills to pay, bro.
Yeah. Do you feel like teaching just in and of itself helped progress your jiu-jitsu?
Oh yeah.
Being able to like break down techniques and stuff.
Especially because I get to teach my best techniques. So by explaining my best techniques, it gets even better. So I think that's something useful. I deal very well with teaching and training. I can train inside of my classes. I can make things interesting for everyone, even when I'm training. I remember that when I was training that gym in Spring Hill, was most beginners. I used to make them sit near to the wall, and just put one hand under my belt,
Yeah.
and I used to train with them with just one hand. And after I submit all of them with one hand, I was putting both hands under the belt. And like always trying to make things getting harder for me. That's how you get better in jiu-jitsu. Every time on a training session, I choose the hardest, the best guys to train with me.
That's why you always pick me first.
Yes, that's the reason. I enjoy training with you.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
I was joking though.
So yeah, like I see some people they don't want to train against the best guys in the mats because they're afraid to tap. I want to train with the best guys, and I believe there is nothing wrong with tapping. If any of you make me tap, it means you did something right and I did something wrong, and by tapping, I know what I did wrong and I can correct it. That's why I think it's important to train with someone who is better than you, because when you train with people who are not so better than you, you don't get to realize what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, you only realize
Because
what
like
you're doing
even
right.
if you do something wrong, people don't take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you train with someone really good, they won't let it go. They will get you. So it's good training with people who are better than me, and that's why I drive 3 hours to Knoxville to train with someone. Braga, it's really important for my game, because every time he made me tap, I realize what I'm doing wrong. And you should always train with people who are better than you, well, like really higher level than you, because you're gonna exercise your defense. You should train with people who are like not that good, because you're gonna exercise your attacks. And you should train with people who are the same level as you, because you're gonna be competitive. So this way you can train all the aspects of the game.
Yeah, I saw an article. I can't remember who it was. It's a high-level black belt, and they were saying to build a good offense for competition, you should train with mostly people who are about to get their blue belt or fresh blue belts. Like if you're a brown or black belt, because that's how you're really going to build like an offense. But I agree with you as far as training with people that are better than you or as good.
I see a lot of people that they're really good on when they beat people up, but they are not really good when they get pressure.
Yeah.
That's what I like about Conor Gracie, his own mindset. Being cool under pressure. Being cool when you are being smashed. And enjoy being there. It's like you all need pass for struggles. Struggles in life. Struggles in jiu-jitsu. That's how you get stronger. Like our old Brazilian jiu-jitsu school guy, José Mário Sperry, he say, good fighters in good situations are always good. I want to see good fighters in bad situations. That's how you see someone is really good or not. So that's why I embrace the feeling when I'm tired. Some people, they hate it and they want to stop. I embrace it.
Yeah.
And I first time I heard about embracing bad situations was I was watching a documentary about the winter in Canada. And like, if you get upset about the winter in Canada, you're gonna get crazy. You have to embrace it.
Yeah.
And I embrace pain. I embrace when I'm tired.
You almost
And
have
it's
to
like-
be grateful for it.
Yes, and it will make you stronger. And when you're in good conditions, it just be easy. Yeah, like you have to be tough when you smashing people, and you have to be tougher when you're being smashed.
I think at the World Pro this recently happened. You know, Herbert Santos or whatever.
Herbert Santos.
Yeah. This has happened a couple times and he's really good, obviously. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about his technique. He's amazing. He's good. But there's been times in competition where he starts to get beat and he just gives up. Like where he's like lost, like he's losing on points. And I'm pretty sure that happened at the World Pro recently, where he was starting to get smashed and then he just gave up and let him tap him and just tapped and like walked off.
I mean, there's people that do that in training all the time.
Yeah.
I can't stand when
But that's one of those things where it's like they're good, they're really good, and they kick everyone's ass. But as soon as they get like fought, like as soon as there's pressure on them, they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, when you pass someone's guard and then they're late, they just go limp. It's like, dude, come on. Your guard was so strong, and then as soon as I pass it, you're just not even moving.
Lots of bad behaviors in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
like
we're all guilty of it a little bit.
Yeah, like I was training with a guy, and I don't know why he was upset with me, and then I realized he was upset with me. And I do every time I see someone in the mat's upset with me, I always have the same reaction. Hey, let's go for a roll. And then it was 5 minutes roll, and I made him tap 6 times, 6 guillotines, one after the other.
Wait, is this me? Are you talking about me?
No, it wasn't you. It wasn't you. And then after that, he got really respectful.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen, though.
And like after that, I was training with him, and he wasn't offering any resistance. He was letting me pass his guard real easy. He was letting me submit him real easy. And I said, bro, what's happening here? I said, no, Professor, I'm respecting you. I said, bro, you just got tapped like 6 times in 5 minutes. Like, you really think you need to respect me? Yeah. I could beat you without my hands. If I put my hands under my belt, I still could submit you. I just like...
That's almost more disrespectful.
Yeah, like you go to the gym to train hard, and then someone is like training like a bitch. I told you, you're not training like a man. You're training like a bitch. It's like, don't even think you're a fighter because you're not.
It's the ego, man. People they figure, well, if I fight back and he beats me, then I suck. But if I don't fight back, then I don't suck. You know? That mentality's stupid, but it happens all the time.
I believe, like, if someone gets in a position to submit you and they let it go, that maybe he can be respectful. But it's not like it's open your legs and let someone do. Man, anyone can do that.
Yeah.
But now get in a position that you can submit me and let it go. Then you can say respect.
Yeah.
I would prefer that you get me. I would prefer to tap so I know what I'm doing wrong. But the guy is training and not offering any resistance. And like it happens sometimes when I'm training with black belts, like they're heavier than me, and they don't wanna pass the impression they're not losing. So they just let it go, let me do whatever I want, and say, hey, like I could be training could be more useful with a white belt. And I'm not saying that I always make people tap, because when I go to Knoxville, what happened is you see Samuel Bragg make me tap all the time.
Yeah.
And he's lighter than me. But I don't make things easy for him, and I don't create excuses. Every time I go there, he makes me tap is because he's a better fighter than I am. He's a 4-time world champion. And I have no shame to tell that every time I go there, I tap. It's like it's really frustrating when you train with someone and you make the people tap and they say, I was going easy with you.
Oh, no.
Bro, I could just see that you're like fighting for your life. And you come to me saying you're like going easy. Like,
or they'll make an excuse like you tap them and they're just like,
oh, I'm tired.
I'm super tired.
Oh yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
I have a
headache.
headache.
I'm tired too.
like there is nothing wrong with tapping. There is nothing wrong with finding someone better than you in jiu-jitsu. If I find someone better than me in jiu-jitsu and he makes me tap, I will train with him every single time. But some people, they just hide.
Yeah.
And they create excuses. I'm really proud to say I'm not like that.
Well, I think I used to be more like that when I was like a blue belt, maybe at the beginning of purple belt. But the higher I get, the more I want to train with, people like Tony and Pitt at our gym, the blue belts that are really technical blue belts. Because if they catch me in something, then that's on me, It's my mistake.
Yeah, there was a guy.
And there is nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
There was a guy when I was a white belt, and he was like the toughest roll in the room just because he was super scrappy and would always just put up a fight. And I would always avoid him, and I hated rolling with him. Eventually, one time when I rolled with him, because he would just like squeeze your head and like
Levi?
yeah, Levi. And so I would just one time I walked away, like I just like stopped during the roll, and but then like after I had thought about it, I realized like he should be the one I'm rolling with all the time because he's the one giving me problems and making it difficult for me. And then eventually I would always pick him first. I was like, I want him while he's fresh, 100% ready to go. And like that, I learned that little thing of just like, you should pick the toughest people in the room. Sometimes I don't though. So especially like he would say, I feel like when I was like maybe purple belt, brown belt, like through that, sometimes I would not always have that mentality, but
Thank you.
yeah, you have to train with the because it's like that's what you're there to do. You're not there to beat everyone up. You're there to get beat up. That's why most of us fall in love with jiu-jitsu in the first place. Is our first experience of like getting manhandled, getting beat up, and like seeing the power of jiu-jitsu.
It's not only about sports competition. It's like one day you're gonna have to fight for your life, and that's the training you had at the gym. That's gonna determine the outcome. Mm-hmm. If you're training easy at the gym, man, you're probably gonna die. Like, that's what like Nate Diaz said that you always should train to kill. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, always try to kill and not be killed. Because if you tap in a real situation, like if you're in a situation, always try to, what he said you always have to escape from submissions as much as you can, because if you tap in a real situation, it means you're dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Always try to make people tap and don't tap. That's like survival skills. That's what the thing I think is most useful in jiu-jitsu is not even only the sports jiu-jitsu, but self-defense. Many people forget about self-defense. You need to be able to fight for your life. You need to be able to fight to protect people who you love. And only training hard, only training to kill and not be killed is gonna save you. That's what I believe. That's why I always train hard. If I hold your gi, I will try to bring a piece of your gi with me. So like I always rely on technique, but I do a lot of strength too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's a lot of people preach the technique over strength or whatever, but
I think both can work together.
Yeah, you gotta have both for sure. Especially if you're training for competition or self-defense. If you're only learning technique with zero strength, you're not gonna know how to defend it.
Technique is always gonna be the main thing, but you can sports jiu-jitsu. You cannot go to a competition only with techniques. Yeah. You have to get a good condition.
Look at all the world champs; they're all on steroids.
There's not a fat world champion.
No, there is not. Maybe in the ultra heavy division, but
not even though. I mean, Buchecha,
like in the adults, like there's no,
Yeah, nowadays not, but
maybe in
1995, 1996, and like
there
the first 3 or 4 world championship, I could see some people like really fat winning on the ultra heavy and sometimes in the super heavy division. Not nowadays.
No. So are you doing any other like strength or conditioning to get ready for competition, or no? You just training?
No, I do. I lift weights. I lift weights at least 4 times a week. I do cardio at the gym, and that's it. I'm trying to stretching as much as possible, and just training.
Are you pretty flexible?
I used to be more flexible.
Yeah.
Before I had my operation on my back, surgery, but I'm still flexible.
What'd you have done on your back?
They replaced my L4 by a disc, a titanium disc.
Where'd you have it done? Where were you?
Abu Dhabi.
Probably
nice. Did they
the
pay
best
for
place to get it done, right?
Yeah, it was for free. Like the company paid for everything. The company I used to work for, and Emirates, they don't have doctors from UAE like Emirati doctors, local doctors, but they bring the best doctors in the world to UAE.
Yeah.
So was the best place to do it. It was free and it was really good service. So, and I still can train hard.
Was it like a wear and tear injury, like over time, or did something happen specifically?
No, it was over time.
Yeah.
Years and
Is that
years.
your upper or lower?
Lower back?
Lower.
Yeah. It was years and years of jiu-jitsu.
I'm probably going to have that done at some point, I'm sure.
I think a lot of people who play guard, I mean...
I'm getting an MRI after this on my hip. I found that
yeah?
I tore my labrum in my hip, so I have to go find out how bad it is.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's part of it, unfortunately, but it's worth it, you know. I guess like what I was talking about that with someone else. Like especially in jiu-jitsu, you're gonna deal with injuries, especially if you're training for competition. Like you're gonna hurt something. It's gonna happen a lot, but it's better than just sitting around at home like doing nothing, you know.
And it's much less hurtful than Muay Thai.
Oh yeah, than getting punched. Yeah.
And I believe you can get so much from jiu-jitsu. Like it's a different kind of adrenaline. Like it's like it's a sport, but at the same time it's violence. But it's a positive violence.
Yeah.
Putting your energy in your whole in being aggressive, but in a positive way. So that's in my opinion. I'm suspect to say that, but jiu-jitsu is the best sport in the world.
I agree.
Yeah,
because like the violence that is occurring, like a cross arm or whatever, a cross face. It's violent, but it's not like getting hit with an elbow, which I wouldn't want that in my life.
Yeah, I think there is a difference between. I was saying like Muay Thai can hurt you more than Jiu-Jitsu. Maybe it's wrong because maybe no, it is wrong because if I'm rolling with someone, I can break his arm.
Oh, yeah.
And it's gonna take like 6 months to get better. And if I can get punched on the face, maybe I can train the next day.
Yeah.
So like, Jiu-Jitsu is the ultimate thing. Like, everyone can punch and can kick, but to break someone's arm, choke someone out, it requires a lot of more technical fighting, and it requires lots of more knowledge.
Yeah.
That's why I think Jiu-Jitsu is superior than any other martial arts. Like years ago in UFC, when everyone go there to represent your martial arts, Jiu-Jitsu always won.
Yeah.
By the time people start training Jiu-Jitsu, they start to do better against Jiu-Jitsu, but they never say, hey, I'm training Jiu-Jitsu. They try to hide.
Yeah.
But only Jiu-Jitsu can beat Jiu-Jitsu. If the fighter is good, only Jiu-Jitsu can beat Jiu-Jitsu. No, if you put a guy who only knows Muay Thai with a guy who only knows Jiu-Jitsu, in 95% of the cases, the guy who only knows Jiu-Jitsu will beat the guy who only knows Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, when they put it on the stage, that's how it turned out.
Unfortunately, we'll never see something like that again because everyone's training jiu-jitsu.
Everyone. It's very accessible. I remember like years ago, that's one of the things that we said in the beginning of the podcast. The mindset of jiu-jitsu has evolved, has getting better with the Americanization of jiu-jitsu. Because I remember in 1996, there was a fight between John Lewis, which was one of the first Americans to get a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, against Carson Gracie Jr. And Joe Lewis was learning Jiu-Jitsu from André Pederneiras. And the fight, they got a draw. And lots of people stopped talking with André Pederneiras and started to isolate him from the Brazilian community because he taught Jiu-Jitsu to an American to beat a Brazilian.
Oh, okay.
So it should be like really closed mindset. And like another case is like, I remember that Ken Shamrock came to Ringan Machado School like decades ago, and they let him train for a day, and then after the training, excuse me, you're gonna fight against jiu-jitsu guys, you cannot train in here. Leave. Yeah, that used to be like really about making jiu-jitsu always on top. And at the same time, I agree that's closed mindset, but at the same time, I like it.
Yeah.
Because it's some people, they go to the church every day to get better. I go to the gym to get better. That's my religion. Jiu-jitsu is my religion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, bro, it's almost I'm going to 24 years of jiu-jitsu. It's like, it's really something that I take very seriously. Not only about my training, but I don't like see people saying bad things about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's like, it's something that I would really fight for. To put the jiu-jitsu name on top. Always.
Where do you think you would be if you never got into jiu-jitsu?
I would probably end up like my brother and sister, who spent their whole lives in the same hometown, and they never left. And I don't know. It's like they never left. I don't think they're really happy.
Yeah.
Did you ever try and get them into jiu-jitsu, or?
I tried to get my brother into jiu-jitsu, but he never. It's not his thing. He's not a fighter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think jiu-jitsu is. It's not for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, but who do you think you're the best teacher you've ever learned from, like at a seminar? Or?
The best instructor I ever had is my first professor, Marcos Aurelio. It's not only about, he used to go to learn techniques and bring for us, and he used to teach everything, and he used to really put us in the real hard training. I remember that sometimes he was teaching with his belt or on his hand, and he teach the technique. If you do wrong, you get hit. And you really had to pay attention to his classes. But from all the seminars, answering your question, all the seminars that I went and all the private lessons that I had, the best seminar was Léo Vieira. Léo Vieira seminar was really good. Cyborg was really good too. But the best guy that I had chance to learn with was Samuel Braga and Bruno Frazato from Atos. They're the guys that I think they really, really can see things that I couldn't see.
Well, we're coming up on an hour.
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Yeah. That was good.
Thanks for doing this with us. This was a lot of fun.
Definitely do it again for sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to plug anything?
Like your Instagram or?
You don't have to if you don't.
No, I'm trying to get out of social media.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about private? Are you selling private lessons currently, or?
No, I'm not. I've been here for 2 years, and I hardly had the chance to teach private lessons, so I'm not even thinking about that anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
See
you.
you guys next week.
Okay.
Hopefully.